Well, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan says Ankara is implementing a deal it has agreed to with Russia and Iran to reduce violence in Syria's Idlib province. Erdogan says Turkey is doing this in cooperation with a militant group calling itself the Free Syrian Army. He stressed that had his country not acted, bombs would be falling on Turkish cities now. Earlier, Turkish forces and Al-Qaeda-linked militants in Syria exchanged fire along the border. The two sides used artillery fire to pound each other. Turkish forces reportedly entered Syrian territory. No casualties have been reported. Al-Qaeda militants consist of Tahrir al-Sham and al-Nusra Front groups. Al-Nusra Front last year changed its name to Jabhat Fatah al-Sham. Turkey supported all the armed groups for years with the aim of toppling the Syrian government. Crossing over to Ontario, joined by Jason Unruhe, political commentator. Thank you so much for being with us. Let's talk about now Turkey's current role. So up until a short time ago, it was basically supporting these same terrorist groups that now it is fighting. What's the main reason, in your perspective, for the switch?
Oh, I think this definitely does have to do with the United States. Turkey has been, for the most part, a complete client of the United States and has done whatever it is that would forward U.S. interests in the region. Then once the U.S. stopped its support for much of the Free Syrian Army, or at least many aspects of it, because they are now something that could be seen as a terrorist, given that the Free Syrian Army is now very clear that they're going to fail to topple the Assad government. Now the U.S. has switched sides and decided that it's now going to fight, say, Daesh forces, whereas previously they were aiding them behind the scene with special forces, Saudi money, etc. And Turkey is just following suit with that change in U.S. policy. If Assad is going to win and the country is not going to be overthrown and captured, then aiding forces like the Kurds inside the country is a much more viable solution to try to at least carve up as much of the country as possible, using the plight of the Kurds as a kind of justification for stealing that land. But basically, Turkey is doing this because there has been a U.S. pivot in policy, and they're just following suit.
Well, talking about that U.S. pivot, but we're also seeing a lot of hypocrisy, if you want to say a duplicity, even on the ground there. For example, in Syria, on the one hand, we see the U.S. fighting Daesh. On the other hand, we've had the Lebanese resistance leader just say a couple of hours ago that basically they do not want that final battle or the final kill, if you want to say, against Daesh to take place. And U.S. planes are actually fighting or attacking sometimes either Russian forces or the Syrian forces or resistance forces to make sure that they do not actually have that final blow against Daesh. So your take on that side of things?
Oh, I think that is a rather extraordinary claim, but one that I would certainly be willing to believe, given that the United States has previously attacked Syrian air bases and has attacked Russian forces in the past and confirmed to have done so. I wouldn't put it past the United States to do that in order to prop up the end of Daesh that's fighting against, Syrian government allied forces, while fighting Daesh on their own end to try to boost their ability to capture as much of the country while undermining others' ability to take as much of the country back for the Syrian government as possible. Okay. So I really would not put it past the United States to do something like this.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us out of Ontario, Mr. Jason Unruhe, political commentator.